There's something not everyone knows. Al Pacino, the cinema giant, the legendary face of Scarface, The Godfather, and Scent of a Woman, is not someone you want to mess with on set. Not because he's a diva, far from it, but because to him, acting isn't just a job. It's almost a spiritual mission. For Al, every character is a deep dive into the soul, a descent into the underworld to return with something real. And if those around him don't match that intensity, well, it never ends well. Today, I'll tell you about 3 actors Al Pacino truly couldn't stand, or at least with whom he had such intense clashes that it negatively affected their collaborations. This isn't cheap gossip. We're talking about real artistic conflicts, tension on set, and sharp words spoken without a filter. Get ready, because the names are big and the stories are even bigger. Before we dive in, I just ask that you support me by subscribing to the channel so I can keep bringing you better content. And let me know in the comments which celebrity you'd like to see featured in the next video. Let's start with Johnny Depp. The dynamic between Johnny Depp and Al Pacino during the filming of Donnie Brasco in 1997 became one of the most fascinating examples of generational differences in acting methods. Depp, playing undercover FBI agent Joseph Pistone, found himself alongside Pacino, who portrayed the fading mobster Lefty Ruggiero. Depp brought his distinctive style to the set, one built on meticulous and original character construction, an approach that threw off Pacino, who preferred a more instinctive and emotional form of acting. Al had a different kind of preparation in mind, director Mike Newell told Empire magazine years later. Johnny started with external elements to build Donnie, the way he walked, his gestures, his voice tone. For Al, everything had to come from a deep inner connection, almost a psychological fusion with the character. The clash of methods came to a head during a key restaurant scene, where Lefty teaches Donnie the rules of mob life. According to production designer Donald Graham Burt, Pacino grew irritated when he sensed Depp was performing the scene with a more technical than emotional approach. During a break between takes, Burt recalled in an interview with Vanity Fair, Al turned sharply to Johnny and asked, "Where are you right now? Why aren't you here with me?" A heavy silence fell over the set. Though things remained formally respectful, crew members noticed that Pacino increasingly lost patience with Depp's method, especially his habit of partially staying in character between takes, without fully reaching the emotional immersion Pacino deemed essential. Tension escalated to the point that producer Barry Levinson had to step in several times to resolve creative conflicts that threatened crucial scenes. As Pacino later told a student at the Actors Studio with a cryptic remark, "There are actors who invent characters and those who reveal themselves through them. Problems arise when these two worlds try to coexist." The second actor on our list is another Hollywood giant, Leonardo DiCaprio. 2 legends in one film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Even if they don't share scenes. Still, the atmosphere on set was tense. 2 completely different schools of thought. Leo would arrive hours early with research, notes, interviews, and studies on 1960s Hollywood. He prepared like a student at a final exam. Al Pacino, on the other hand, arrived on time, read a few lines, and boom, he was ready. And the crazy part? It looked like he'd been preparing for months. During a group script reading, Leo made several historical observations about the industry at the time. Pacino looked at him and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "The research department's down the hall. Here we act." The room froze, but the message was crystal clear. Even the costume department noticed the difference. DiCaprio would try on dozens of outfits, wanting every detail to convey something specific. Pacino? He'd glance at an outfit, try it on, and feel it. If it worked, great. If not, on to the next. No fuss. Once he said, "Leo builds characters like a historian. I play them like a jazz musician. I feel the moment and jump in." The most revealing line? When asked what he thought of DiCaprio's process, Pacino said, "Every generation has to reinvent the wheel. Some have to measure every spoke before they let it spin. A jab? Definitely. Subtle, but sharp." But if you think it ends there, wait till you hear the third name, Tom Cruise. The tireless, the perfectionist, the man who jumps off buildings without a stunt double. They were supposed to star together in Michael Mann's Collateral, Cruz as the hitman, Pacino as the cab driver. But things didn't go as planned. From the very first rehearsals, the two clashed, not with words, but in philosophy. Tom came in with a full dossier on his character. He had studied real killers, trained with weapons, worked with specialists. Pacino looked at him and said, word for word, "I don't need to know where this guy went to school. I just need to know what he feels right now." Translation: all that prep is pointless if you don't get to the heart of the scene. There was one rehearsal where Pacino, frustrated, threw the script aside and improvised. He wanted to see how Cruz would respond, but Tom didn't budge. He was rigid, precise, almost frozen. For him, every movement was calculated. Every word had its timing. That drove Al crazy. At the end of the day, he snapped at the director. "All this preparation is great, but at some point you have to burn the library and see what happens." The clash became so unmanageable that the script was rewritten. Cruz stayed as the killer, and Jamie Foxx took over the role of the cab driver, originally written for Pacino. A complete overhaul, triggered by irreconcilable artistic differences. Years later, during a festival in Venice, someone asked Al about Cruz. And with the calm of someone who knows exactly what he's saying, he replied, "Some actors design beautiful houses. I prefer those who live in them, even if they break a few pieces of furniture." So there you have it. Depp, DiCaprio, and Cruz. All brilliant, awarded, acclaimed, living legends. But in Al Pacino's world, not everyone matches his vision of the craft. For him, acting is truth. It's instinct. It's leaping into the void to see what happens. And if you're not ready for that, no matter how famous you are, he'll know right away. And he won't hesitate to let you know. And you? Whose side are you on? Tell me in the comments. Let me know what you think of Al Pacino, and which celebrity you'd like to see featured in the next video. Subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories from the world of the stars. Because Hollywood, believe me, is wilder than any movie ever shows.